Okay, so we've just viewed the video clip of that elementary classroom, and we've individually scored what we saw in the video based on what we saw students doing using the rigor rubric. So we're going to now share what we saw and see if we can't calibrate and come to some consensus about where we would put that lesson on this rubric. Okay?
Yep.
So let's start with thoughtful work and talk about evidence that makes you place the lesson in one of these 4 categories. Okay? So I guess I'll get started. And really, I was kind of between developing and meeting on this part, the thoughtful work. I felt like the students did kind of pull from prior knowledge. I thought they were at times kind of creative about their thinking and ways to figure out the handshake issue. If she upped it to 20 people or 12 people, they were looking for number patterns. So
plus they were able to creativity. They were able to make their own number sentences and move them around and change them and however they wanted to. So I agree with you on that.
Okay, so we saw some revision. We saw prior knowledge.
Yeah, I was on the fence about that between the developing and the meeting. I knew it wasn't extensive because there wasn't a whole bunch of creativity. However,
Exceeding,
it says extensive in the definition, Mr. Parker. So I just thought that, I thought it was above developing because they were able to create, and then they would come up with, but if we do this, and so they're starting to apply it to other areas and evaluate what they already have and then go with something else. So I thought it was above developing, but not exceeding. So I guess that puts us at meeting.
Okay, so it sounds like
I had meeting I wasn't even on the fence. I had meeting.
Okay, so it sounds like we're in agreement that for thoughtful work, we're at the level of meeting.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, that's good. It's hard for us because none of us are elementary ed people, and 2 of us are not math folks. So I'm glad that we
Purpose.
Both of which I'm thankful for.
Yes,
each and
me
every
too.
day.
There you go. Okay, so moving on to high-level thinking. The instructional experience requires high-level thinking, reflection, and intellectual growth. Where did you guys score the student work on that piece?
I'm between developing and meeting.
I was developing.
You were developing, and I was kind of on the fence between developing and meeting. So let's kind of offer some evidence that made us feel like it was one or the other. Did you guys take any good notes about that area?
A few. I just don't know how high level addition is. I'm not sure what grade level was that.
I don't know the grade level, but I think that this was really more of a problem-solving activity.
And part of it, I know they were expressing a pattern, and they were having to find a good way to add up the numbers, and I can see that being there, but I thought that might have been a little limited for that age group.
They look 8, by the way. But anyway.
There you go. They're 8. What grade would that be?
4th? 3rd?
Second
grade. That's 2nd grade, Dave. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, then maybe for 2nd grade that is higher.
Right.
Right, and I'm like you, I don't know what it looks like. So I just thought that the only reason that it would maybe go into the meeting portion would be because of the them evaluating things and the creativity being to say, but if we do this, so they started doing that on their own. But it wasn't extensive in any form or fashion, and it was only a couple of kids that did that. Only those couple had the ability.
Mm-hmm.
Or I shouldn't say had the ability. I guess maybe they all had the ability, but they didn't express that. So I say for sure developing with possible splashes of meeting.
So what do you do there when you're on the fence? Where do you go?
I would say, since we're sort of on the fence, I think Danya put it well, that there were moments of meeting in there, but maybe not throughout the entire piece that we viewed. I think to err on the lower end would probably be safest, because then we're allowing for more growth to occur, and we can start talking about how could we make that happen more often?
They'll want to get to
right.
the
Where
meeting
everyone
and
is having those moments.
Right.
in the
And I
classroom.
think the teacher actually asked some really good questions to get them moving towards that meeting level, to get them thinking. She did not hand them everything on a silver platter. She did not tell them. She would ask them questions and then extend, well, if that's the case for 12, what do you think about 20? Why do you think that? So I think she's offering those opportunities and could maybe, do even more than that and get, like you said, other kids more opportunities there. Okay, so let's go ahead and stay with developing on the high level thinking.
Okay.
And then move on to the oral extended responses. Where were you guys on that?
I was on the fence again between developing and meeting. I mean,
I was on the fence with beginning and developing.
And I was on the fence between developing and meeting. So that's interesting. So let's
I'm
talk
wrong.
about.
Is that what you're saying?
No, absolutely not. Let's just talk about what we saw. What evidence was in the piece?
I'm just looking at the words here, and I was looking at the create unique solutions, and I think that they had to do that when they were creating their own number sentences. But that was only, again, there was only a few, and it only happened a couple of times, which is why I'm still leaning on the fence.
In my notes, I put it was that that in this one I feel that it was varied based on the student responses. She would ask them questions, and then there were 3 or 4 kids in the video that were like, yeah. She says, can you do this? Yeah. Can you do this? Yeah. And then she would say, well, what about this? Can we do this? Or how else does this apply? And then there would be these 1 or 2 little kids that would go on with with an extended response where they were using complete sentences and applying it to something else in response to what she was asking them. But
so
a lot of the answers were
single
just
one-word responses.
Yeah.
Is more beginning. So.
Okay, so you were focusing on the questions where they did answer in 1 word. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I was writing down questions that were asked. Is it easier to add if we put 0 and 19 together? That would have been a single word answer. Mm-hmm. What else can I do? What else do you see?
Right.
How many pairs do you think we could make? And a kid threw out 10, and she said, well, why? Why 10? So, again, extending their thinking. So I think I'm in developing.
I went with developing because they use the word occasionally.
Right. I was just
going to express original ideas.
I was just going to say that.
I would say that too.
They occasionally express their original ideas and were able to explain, which demonstrated their, demonstrated comprehension by their explanations. And it wasn't only filled with 1-word answers from the kids. They were, from time to time, figuring things out. And I think she had them in small groups so that we only actually got to capture in that video the conversations of that one group. And it appeared from, what you could see in the distance that there were other groups going through the same exercises and getting to talk and explain. So
I can go with developing.
I'm happy with developing. I think it's more than beginning. Danya, are you okay with that?
Other than the 1-word answers, yes.
Okay.
I'll try to overlook it.
So to summarize, it looks like we decided on thoughtful work that we would rate what we saw the students doing as the meeting level. Mm-hmm. And high-level thinking, we agreed on developing. And oral extended student responses, developing.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so this gives our teacher teams an idea of the kinds of conversations that they'll need to have after viewing videos. So hopefully this will be a helpful model for them to use. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate your time. You're movie stars. Way to go.
Just leave the $20 in my box.
There you go.